Hello and welcome back to my channel. Right, something a bit different today. I think I'm trying to prove to myself that I'm a bit more than a talking head. I have got a body. And it's a happy body because it's been to group this morning and it's weighed in and it's got the result it deserved. This week, after sticking to my normal 4 healthy extras, I was back to 2 healthy extra A's this week, except for 2 days when I actually had 2.5 healthy extra A's. I had 2 healthy extra B's every day, I've had 15 sins every day, and I got a 1.5 pound loss at group. Now I have to be honest and say sometimes this plan flummoxes me, because I did exactly the same this week as I did last week, as in the number of sins I had, as in the number of healthy extras, apart from, I say I dropped them a little bit on some days this week, but last week I gained £0.5 pound, this week I lost £1.5 pound. And I think for me today, all I can say is it's down to consistency. The gains and the losses are pretty irrelevant because they're never going to be massive or major. And if I gain, it'll only be a small gain. If I lose, it'll be a reasonably small loss. And I'm just kind of moving around that very small area now. I'm not trying to be dramatically up or dramatically down. So consistency is helping me to do that. If I went out this week and blew it, on a box of mince pies, a box of chocolates and all those things, I would expect a big gain. Because I think today my body is quite fine-tuned and would react that way. I had 3 lots of chocolates bought for me this week and 3 boxes of chocolates, and I've given them all away. Not because I'm a martyr, not because I'm an angel, but because I'm being sensible. They were what got me to 22 stone and I'm not going back there. So last week I forgot to give my mileage, which was 50.71. This week my mileage has been 52.27. That's because I love walking, not because I walk to lose weight. Because as I say, last week walked 50.71 miles and gained weight. But I actually feel so much better for walking. I've got so much more energy. Now one of the things I touched on last week was my £260 for being at Target. And I did say I'm giving away £50 of that today in the form of an Amazon gift voucher to the lucky winner of the draw. And I would take the other £210 to spend on myself. Well, I'm just going to tell you a little story. There's a shop in Nottingham, and I'm sure in other cities, called Whistles. And I have always wanted to be able to shop there, and I have always, until recently, been too big to shop there. I remember, when I could see, looking in their window, hanging my nose over some of the beautiful clothes and thinking, if only, but I was never prepared to put the work in. Well, we were in town yesterday, heading up to Costa for a coffee, and I said to Joe, let's just have a look in the window at Whistles. And we're looking in the window and Joe's describing the clothes and everything. And then the next thing he's saying, come on, let's go in. And we're through the door before I had time to whistle. Anyway, looking around in there, I did try on a leather jacket, but they had the one I wanted in a size 12 and it was too big. And as we were coming out, Joe spotted the top that I'm wearing today, which is, I don't know how well it comes across on camera. Can you see, Joe, the detail on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got moons and stars and sparkly stones and sequiny bits. But it's like a cross between a sweater and a sweatshirt. It's just the most comfortable piece of clothing. Because I don't like too much in the way of fine tailored stuff unless I'm going to an occasion. I like comfortable clothes. So Joe spotted this top, and they had it in a large, they had it in a medium, and they had it in a small. They just had 3 in the shop. And first of all I touched the large and I thought, no, that's too big for me. And I touched the medium and I thought, yeah, that feels like about my size. And Joe said, take the medium and take the small and try them on. So I took them into changing rooms, put the medium on first, and it buried me. So then I went to the small, which is the one that I'm wearing. And I love it. But you know what is the biggest victory? It's actually being able to walk in there and have clothes that I can look at and think, yeah, that's my size. I can't tell you the difference in that feeling. I know I go on about it, but when we were in there yesterday looking at their clothing, which seemed to start, and a lot of it was a size 4. Now, that I am not interested in being. But to be able to buy an 8 or a 10, and okay, this was expensive, and I'm not justifying it because it's my money and it's my business, but it was £99.99. But oh my God, the fit and the comfort and the design and the size of it is so much better than a lot of the clothes I buy on the high street. And it did come out of my Christmas money from Slimming World that I've saved up. And I did say, when somebody asked last week, that I would say what I spent it on when I spent it. So I've still got £110 left, but I bought this top yesterday in Whistles, and it was a first. And when the girl served me, she said, have you shopped with us before? I said, no, I never could. She kind of looked at me and she went, oh, and I said, until I lost weight, I never could shop with you before. So she asked me how much weight I'd lost. So, much to Joe's embarrassment, I told her, because I am proud of my achievement today. And one girl turned to the other and she said, see, I knew I should have stayed at Slimming World. But it does work. It does work. And yeah, I'm feeling 100% on top of the world this week, even though I have had a stinking cold all week. I haven't had much of an appetite. I have made myself eat 3 meals a day, and I felt better for it. And I haven't resorted to taking medication, which I used to pop pills like nobody's business, and I haven't resorted to taking buttercup syrup or rosehip syrup as an excuse, because you know you need it when you've got a cold. The old me used to just love it because it was syrup and it was sugar. I don't do that anymore. The other thing I'm wearing today, and I don't know how much of these you'll see on the camera, and these are in the latest range from Wallis's, petite. I'm only 5'2", so I tend to shop in the petite range. These are great trousers and they have lovely zip pockets, which I like, which is a nice detail. They're also a nice fit for somebody who's 5'2", because in length they are perfect. So you could wear them with boots, you could wear them with like little shoe boots or whatever. You could dress them up and wear them with high heels if you wanted to. If you could like avoid falling off high heels, which is something I'm not good at. But they're also a nice, generous fit. I mean, I'm wearing a size 10 and I've got inches in them. So, worth looking at. Wallis is 30 quid, and they're the sort of trousers you could really dress up for Christmas. Okay. Yeah, group was brilliant as ever. Loads of awards given out this morning. But something I want to speak about that I'm feeling really passionate. You know what I'm like when I feel passionate? I feel fired up. Something that's occurred again and again and again this week and really hit me every time somebody said it is, well, it's the title of this vlog today, You've Got to Have a Life. Now, I had a text this week from somebody who quoted, you've got to have a life. And it was a guy, it wasn't a girl. Got to have a life. And I've had a couple of emails. I get a lot of emails and I don't mind at all. I really enjoy them. I get 2 emails this week from people who've said, but you've got to have a life. And the number of times I've heard it said by different people, friends and even family this week, you've got to have a life. The one common denominator from everybody who has actually said that to me personally this week has been a weight gain. Every one of the people who said personally to me this week, you've got to have a life, has actually been saying it to justify why they've had a weight gain. And I don't want to do that anymore. And I don't want to sort of justify having weight gains anymore. If I have a weight gain, I'll tell you how I did it. But I will not be trying to justify it by saying you've got to have a life. When I was 22 stone, I did not have a life. I barely had an existence. My husband would tell you if he was standing here now, and he'll be watching this video later, so I'm being truthful. I barely existed. I lived in misery, depression and anxiety. I very rarely left the house. I hardly ever left my chair. In fact, if I could avoid it, I didn't even leave my bed. And if I wasn't in my bed or in my chair, you'd find me in the kitchen because I was usually looking for food or eating food. Food was my hobby, food was my pastime, food was my life. The life I had. Do I want to go back to that so I can say you've got to have a life? No. Because that is not, for me, that is not living. I don't need to fill my face today to actually experience joy. I actually feel I experience more joy now my food is in the right place. I am not on a diet. I'm on a healthy lifestyle plan. And I really mean that. I am not on a diet. For the first time in my life, and dieting made me fat. It really did, because I could keep it up for a couple of days and then I'd blow it with a fortnight's binge, and then I'd be back into bulimia thinking, if I throw up because I've eaten that, I won't gain weight. Well, I'm here to tell you that doesn't work either, because you do still gain weight. And I just feel so passionately about, encouraging people and encouraging myself to look at what is having a life about. I really feel today I've got a life for the first time really in my adult life. I've got a life and I'm living it, and I'm living it comfortably and easily and at speed a lot of the time, because I'm generally dashing somewhere with the help of Joe. I'm not sitting around on my bum anymore. I'm not lying in my bed till lunchtime anymore. I'm not getting up in the middle of the night anymore to see what I can eat while everybody else is asleep. I'm not binging anymore. I'm not craving foods anymore. And I'll move on to why I believe that is. But all I want to say is, if you believe having a life has to go hand in hand with overeating, then good luck to you. Because I don't believe that anymore. I believe having a life is being able to say goodbye for me to overeating. And I know my life and my story isn't everybody's life and everybody's story. We are all different. But if you're one of those people this week in group, or who emailed me and said, I've had a gain of X, Y or Z, but you've got to have a life. Are you happy? Is that the life you want? I'm happy today. I've got the life I want and I love it. Not just because I had £1.5 pound loss, that's irrelevant. I'm happy being around the weight I am today. And I'm happy having no fear and no anxiety involved with it. Something else I've touched on lately is about the fact that I've chosen to go low sugar. Excuse me. Rita in the comments has asked me, can I recommend any literature? I'm currently reading most of the way through it, a book. Is it The Truth About Sugar, Joe? Gary Taubes? No? Yeah, The Truth About Sugar by Gary Taubes, I think it is. One of the things I've found really beneficial about reading this book is it's explained to me why people of my generation have grown up on a high sugar diet, and how food has changed over the years, especially through the 70s and 80s, into becoming food that is regularly sweetened when it never used to be in my childhood. And Joe tells me about things like corn, don't you, Joe? What do they turn corn into?
High fructose corn syrup and dextrose.
And it's used to sweeten so many foods. And everything today, if you read your labels, everything tends to have sugar in some form. It's not always meant to be there. It doesn't seem to be a natural way. But what I think has happened, and you know what happened in my life, is I grew to have a sweet tooth because everything I ate had added sugars. So I really thought I was a person with a sweet tooth. Since I've cut down dramatically on the amount of sugar I eat, I surprise myself. I don't have a sweet tooth. I actually have quite a savoury tooth. And the only thing I use today for sweetening is cinnamon. I put that in quark and it's quite sweet enough with natural yoghurt. I don't use any other form of sweetening. I don't use honey, I don't use sugar, I don't use maple syrup, or what's the other one, the other syrup that's popular? It comes from the cactus thing.
Agave.
Agave nectar. These are all added sugars. You might think it's healthy because it comes from a plant. The agave thing comes from the same plant as tequila. You might think maple syrup's healthy because it comes from a tree. It probably is healthier than a lot of the other sugars, but sugar is sugar is sugar. And I find on my journey that today I don't need it. And somebody also asked me in the comments, how did I move away from having so much sugar in my diet? Well, I think coming to Slimming World was the first step towards doing this, because if I could only have 15 Sims a day and a couple of healthy extras and then my free food, etc., that put a limit on the amount of sugar I could take in for that first period that I came to Slimming World. And then about probably 6 months ago, I was aware that the thing I relied on more than anything on this plan was hi-fi bars. I used to have 2 every day when we went walking, and I used to say to Joe, this is my fuel for walking. If I don't take these 2 hi-fi bars and eat them when I'm 4 or 5 miles out, I'm not going to get back 4 or 5 miles. I need the energy. I need the energy that these hi-fi bars are going to give me. How much energy do you really get from a hi-fi bar and its artificial sweetness? But I needed them, and I was bloody angry if he tried to take them off me or encourage me not to buy any. Until one day Joe challenged me and he said, okay, can you go without those for 7 days? I tell you what, I was scared. I was determined to do it, but I was scared. And it was frightening to let them go. And the first 2 days, I was like, how can I get hold of someone who won't know? But I didn't do it. After the 7 days, I didn't miss them, and I've not had a hi-fi bar since. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't eat hi-fi bars. I'm not saying Slimming World's wrong to sell hi-fi bars. I'm just saying I needed to look at my behaviour around why I ate them. So the hi-fi bars went. And I often used to spend extra sins on hi-fi bars, so I'd have 2 as a healthy extra, and then I'd have 2 for 6 sins. I was getting through several boxes a week. Excuse me. The next thing, which Joe challenged me over, and this is only 3 or 4 months ago, was the fact that every morning for my breakfast I included 2 Weetabix and I included a Muller Light yogurt. And he said to me, you're starting your day with sugar, and then you're complaining, you know, you're getting hungry before lunchtime. Don't start your day with sugar. And I'd have fruit with that as well. So again, the Joe challenge. Can you go without it for 7 days? I don't think you can, Mum. I thought, I'll bloody show you who can. And I did it. And do you know what? After day 3, I preferred my new breakfast, which was quark, full fat yoghurt and coconut. And I still have that for my breakfast today. And I do not miss I craved Weetabix and Muller Lights. I wanted to get out of bed in the morning because I wanted that sugar fix. I get out of bed now in the morning, well, I bounce out of bed, I go walking, then I come back and I have my breakfast. And I'm not craving it, I'm not even hungry for it, but I have it. And then my third step along the route was to say, do you know what? I don't need to spend my sins on sugar-laden food. So what I spend my sins on today doesn't include any added sugar. Those 3 steps alone have taken a stone in weight off me. And that was a stone that I didn't think I needed to lose. Today I weigh 8 stone 11. I think when I started by giving up the hi-fi bars, I weighed 9 stone 12, probably. 9 stone 12. So I've lost an extra stone just by cutting sugar out of my diet. But the marvellous thing that's come out of all of that, for me today, after years and years and years of craving foods, and generally craving sweet foods, the marvellous thing today is that I have no cravings for anything. And I used to have this dreadful habit that was crave something sweet, which had to be followed by something savoury, which had to be followed by something sweet, and then I was off in a vicious cycle. And that craving, binge-induced behaviour could last for days. And it made me a very, very unreasonable person, didn't it, Joe?
Yeah.
Very unreasonable, because not only did it upset me physically, but because it upset my gut bacteria, it upset me mentally. And I was deranged, I think is the word. I was very unreasonable, I was very intolerant, and I was often very angry. I am not perfect today. I have my moments. I can still be Mardy, I can still have a strop, but it's not food induced anymore. So, yeah, it's been a good week. Not long till Christmas now, is it? But we've got 2 weigh-ins between now and Christmas, and I would like to get weighed in on the 23rd for Christmas around the weight I am today. Okay, we're going to move on and we're going to do the draw if Joe can pick up his iPad and sort stuff out. So last week we announced a giveaway of a £50 Amazon voucher which will be delivered by email to the winner. Been really pleased with the number of people that have commented. If I haven't responded to your comment because you've commented since yesterday, you are still in the draw. What I want to say is, if the comment picker picks one of my replies rather than a comment, which I think it might be able to do, I'm not 100% sure, if it does that, the prize will go to the person I'm replying to. So if your name's Tom Brown and the comment picks, there isn't a Tom Brown on there by the way, but if your name was Tom Brown and the comment picker picked my reply to Tom Brown would win the prize. So we're not going to mess around, there's one shot and the first person gets it, and that seems the fairest way to do it. And what I would like to say is, whoever wins, happy Christmas and enjoy spending the gift from Joe and myself. And for those of you who don't win, still have a happy Christmas, and there will be more giveaways coming up, because it's our way of showing our appreciation for the fact that you follow my channel. I don't do giveaways to attract subscribers. I never put them in the headings for my videos because I want, and this is my personal thing, I want the prize to go to somebody who regularly watches me if possible, because I want to show appreciation. So I'm not going to put it out there as clickbait to attract new subscribers. I'm really happy with the number of subscribers I've got, and the loyalty and the friendship and the kindness I receive from this channel is mind-blowing, really mind-blowing. So yeah, without me rattling on any further, go Joe.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just one and we're at 21 minutes.
Go Joe.
So, yeah.
So we don't run out of time.
Okay.
Good luck everybody.
The winner is Sandy Girl.
There you go, I think it's Sandra, Sandy. Congratulations.
She said, are you planning on having a Slimming World Christmas, Jane?
Yes, I am Sandy. I will have Christmas lunch, and that'll be flexi-sinned. I'll have breakfast on plan, I'll have tea on plan, because that's my life today, and that's the way I want to do it. It's not the way I have to do it, it's the way I want to do it, because I want to stay the way I am today. In a way I do have to do it, because I would go back to where I used to be if I didn't, and I'm not going back there, not for anybody. So congratulations Sandy, thanks for your loyalty, you're always there or thereabouts, you often comment, you've been with me a long time. Hope you have a fantastic Christmas and enjoy spending your £50 voucher. Right, we're off. Have a great week everybody. Love and peace, as they say, season's greetings. We'll be back next week, and I just want to remind myself and everybody else, it works if you work it, it won't if you don't. Cheers, and we'll see you next week. Bye.